This information, Mr. must go to the many of you to know that, especially to you Russia, Europeans, and country you are involved behind my case, United States. Space Code released in from December 15. God planned to bring government of Canada under my investigation for crime of the multicultural India in Canadian Security Service behind my future from Toronto, Ontario to the BC, Vancouver, to the all over in Canada. You give job to this culture by the Muslim, Arab or Iranian people involved, bringing investigation to your department and your government. And God want this information going to many people to know that 1998, according to God, 1998 coming to Canada, coming to you, Canada, by my investigation to your government and your department, Canadian Secret Service, and those your RCMP, whoever was involved, from Alberta to anywhere you was involved, everything coming on the news. So this is going to, but I want this information going to YouTube, and basically God want this information going to YouTube from 15 December.
Ice just kept building up and getting thicker and thicker and thicker, and the wires kept getting bigger and bigger, and all of the trees around, of course, were building up with ice.
Look at the thickness of this ice compared to my hand. It's quite amazing.
This condition kept up for hour after hour after hour, and then gradually, that's when we started to hear the trees coming down, and then the lines started coming down. Trees were falling on the lines, and the lines were falling down on their own because of the weight of the ice that was building up on there.
Then we lost power for more than half of the province.
The lines of cables and huge transmission towers, they were crumpled to the ground like paper clips.
When you saw electrical pylon suddenly buckle in front of your eyes, you knew right away this was going to be major problems.
If you can imagine it, you're looking down this whole pile of poles, and you see them coming down one after another, and you see the fireballs as the electricity is being cut off as well. They looked like a war zone, really. It was so devastated.
Without electricity, millions had no heating, fresh water, or sanitation. The situation was fast getting out of control. Emergency services couldn't cope, and the government was at a loss about what to do next. In the end, 50,000 people were forced to leave their homes and take refuge in temporary shelters. 35 people died, and many more were left in a critical condition. After the storm, 3,000 kilometers of power lines were destroyed at
3,000 kilometers, which is the I descent. Actually, I descent got clear message. 5,000 kilometers to even 10,000 kilometers. Your electricity in Ontario, Ottawa, Quebec, Montreal be destroyed. According to the Space God said, ladies and gentlemen, I bring it to you evidence here. Angel of the God is coming against the government of Canada, and basically here you can see that your angel did warning you deadly to your government Canada to pay to Qasim Ya Rahmadi, he leave your country. You did not. And you casting crime behind me by multicultural, as I told you, India culture or whoever, this shit you have in your department, Canadian Security Service. So in this information, God want to go to many countries, ladies and gentlemen, to know that angel of the God raising by space to bring in government of Canada under my investigation for 700,000 trillion. God wants from government of Canada to pay inside this city here. I bring it to you evidence. The fear is in my internet now to not send in the information, which is India culture do that behind the internet. Canada give job to these people. You can see that, ladies and gentlemen, here I bring to you evidence here. Check out this one here.
A very similar picture across much of Canada today, from the prairies all the way to Quebec City, and for most places, relief is still some 2 days away, or even more. And a look right now at the nation's capital on another dangerously cold day. Yesterday, the dubious distinction of being the coldest capital in the world. And today, the wind chill.
You can see that Canada in Ottawa is coldest capital city, coldest city in the world. I bring it to you evidence, gentlemen, here to know that this information is not only from me. This is from here from God. God wants 700,000 trillion from government of Canada for crime of the India culture in Canadian Security Service, behind my future, by Muslim, by Iranian, and behind that RCMP department, crime behind my value in the city and city, especially Nova Scotia, when I went, crime of this department. All that has been added to bring it to this moment, which is the 2022. Bring it to this moment, 2022. God want freeze government of Canada under criminal investigation to this department, Canadian Security Service, multicultural, non-drary money you can call, or terrorist money you can call. They casting crime behind my future and basically holding my document, which is all that is coming on the news. Why Canada has been hit so bad. I bring it to your evidence, gentlemen. You can see that here is major snow is hitting to the Canada. If you look into the deep, weather is happening from December. And all this information, God one gentleman going to the international world news to know that government of Canada coming under my investigation, got told, for 700,000 trillion by space ice storm coming to Canada. According to the information I have, 1989 there was a major blackout in Canada. They told this was acts of God, which is this happening, this coming here, gentlemen, again by 1998 ice storm. God released into the Canada to bring in my investigation to their government, and world news can see that what Canada did behind my future and what space God side released into Canada to bring their government freeze under this investigation, on the lawsuit, which is a government lawsuit against the government of Canada, as I told in the YouTube before, for 700,000 trillion. You can imagine 3,000 kilometers, this gentleman say ice storm hit electricity cable, but I am not talking about 3,000 kilometers. I am talking about at least 25,000 kilometers from Quebec, Montreal to Ottawa, Toronto, Ontario, Nova Scotia. All that is going to be ice storm in Canada. All their cable electricity is going to be freeze on the space acts of God and on my investigation God wants to bring in government of Canada under this lawsuit for 700,000 trillion, gentlemen.
And then gradually, that's when we started to hear the trees coming down, and then the lines started coming down. Trees were falling on the lines, and the lines were falling down on their own because of the weight of the ice that was building up on there.
Then we lost power for more than half of the province.
The lines of cables and huge transmission towers, they were crumpled to the ground like paper clips.
When you saw electrical pylon suddenly buckle in front of your eyes, you knew right away this was going to be major problems.
If you can imagine it, you're looking down this whole pile of poles, and you see them coming down one after another, and you see the fireballs as the electricity is being cut off as well. They look like a war zone, really. It was so devastating.
Without electricity, millions had no heating, fresh water, or sanitation. The situation was fast getting out of control. Emergency services couldn't cope, and the government was at a loss.